Patchouli is a very unique note because it's an herb, it's a leaf, but it has very kind of musky, earthy, these kind of rich tones. Patchouli oil was popular in the 1960s and 70s, mainly associated with hippies of the time. Today, patchouli usually is kind of placed carefully into different perfumes to give them a slightly more herbal and musky scent. So I'll go over some of my preferred patchouli forward fragrances in this video, starting with a pretty popular one actually, which is Dylan Blue by Versace. You can get a look at the notes in there, and Dylan Blue is primarily a fougère fragrance, which means kind of like aromatic, herbal sort of thing, which it is. It's definitely, it has notes of black pepper, ambrox, patchouli, tonka bean, musk, lots of interesting aromas. It's very sharp and crisp and very masculine, very clean, and despite those the crisp notes, especially of like bergamot, aquatic notes, stuff like that, the patchouli does a really good job of kind of softening the fragrance so it's not too sharp. Because sometimes fragrances are too clean, too sharp, it really hurts your nose, but the patchouli swoops in to save the day and smooths out those sharper notes and gives more of an herbal sort of nature to Dylan Blue, which is very pleasant, very nice. Hard to go wrong with that. And it's a very strong fragrance, potent, so it'll last you throughout the day. Then, quite a different take. Patchouli is Armani SI, which is a very feminine fragrance, especially in comparison to Dylan Blue. This is quite sweet. It has some interesting notes, mainly of maybe rose, freesia, vanilla, and then some wood notes. The patchouli is interesting because it does help ground the fragrance, but it's not as strong or herbal as it is in Dylan Blue or some other examples that I have here. It's kind of softened by especially like that sugary vanilla, the rose, things like that. So it's not too musky or too herbal or too much of that. It's pretty soft, but you still get it. The patchouli is still there, it's still prominent. So this is a more toned down, feminine, soft patchouli. So then, one that's more similar to Dylan Blue is Acqua di Gio by Giorgio Armani. This has a very long list of fragrance notes, and primarily it's similar to Dylan Blue in that it's very herbal. There's rosemary, there's some floral notes, there's some aquatic notes, citrus, and the patchouli comes in. Again, this is kind of a light patchouli because it's kind of elevated on all these really light herbs and florals, but the patchouli really does kind of ground the all those light notes, which is good because when you first spray Acqua di Gio, you're not going to get the patchouli because you're mainly going to get like the citrus notes. But the longer you wear it, you could definitely, the patchouli kind of musky herbalness comes into play later on, along with some oak moss, a little bit of amber, and some white musk and cedar. This is overall a very light and crisp, kind of summery perfume, but it's still a good kind of light patchouli scent. So then the last two here are very, very strong. They're very different from, these ones. The first one is Shalimar from Guerlain. This is, now my philosophy with patchouli is that patchouli is naturally pretty musky, earthy, herbal, and that naturally goes well with other strong notes. brings, it becomes more noticeable. And I think that's pretty much the case with Shalimar, because Shalimar is a very strong fragrance. It's primarily this kind of exotic Indian kind of incensey, woodsy, musky fragrance. And Patchouli, historically came from India. It was very popular in India. It's still popular in India. So, considering that Shalimar was inspired off of India and its herbs and spices and all that, makes sense that the patchouli in this fragrance is superb. It's very nice. The strongest notes are the incense mainly, with some of the citrus, but the patchouli, the whole body really of this perfume is patchouli. And it's just this really nice kind of herbal, smoky herbal sort of nature. It is very strong though. Some people might not like how strong it is, but it's also very warm, kind of a mysterious, comforting fragrance. So if you like strong fragrances and you like patchouli, then Shalimar would probably be a really good option. Then in a similar vein, we have Youth Dew by Estee Lauder. This is similar to Shalimar in the fact that it's also very, very strong and spicy. And the thing about Youth Dew, it has a lot of notes. It has amber, balsam, oak moss, some vanilla, lots of florals, lots of different stuff. The patchouli stands out in the similar way as it stands out in Shalimar. It's surrounded by these really strong notes of spices like cloves and cinnamon. It's kind of, its natural kind of herbal, musky oils are brought out from all those, its co-workers of notes, I suppose. And it's just a nice fragrance. Some people can't stand Youth Dew. Some people can't get enough of Youth Dew, so it kind of depends on what kind of experience, maybe you've smelled it before on your great Aunt Helga and you didn't like it, so, kind of ruin it for you. But if you've never smelled it before and you like spicy fragrances and you like patchouli and you like strong fragrances, then Youth Dew would probably work for you. It's about the same strength as Shalimar, so very strong. Definitely not the same crisp, refreshing nature as Acqua di Gio or Dylan Blue or anything like that. And they're more old-fashioned fragrances, so they're not very sweet either. It's more like pure musk. So that's pretty much all I have to say about patchouli fragrances. Those are the main ones that I have here. If you have any recommendations or opinions about patchouli fragrances, you can leave those down in the comments below. If you liked the video, leave a like, maybe subscribe, and I make videos throughout the week, so stick around for those.